You ever see someone with a special talent and think, man, I'd do anything to be able to do that? Well, today we're jumping into a timeless fable, The Donkey and the Grasshoppers. It's a really sharp cautionary tale about what happens when you chase a dream without actually understanding what it takes to get there. So it all starts on this beautiful day with just a single, simple line. The story goes, a beautiful song was heard from somewhere. It sounds so peaceful, almost magical, right? But believe it or not, that beautiful sound is what kicks off this entire tragic story. And yeah, that song is really where it all begins. It's that first moment where a simple little wish starts to take root, getting ready to grow into something way, way bigger. Okay, so meet our main character, a hardworking donkey just trying to take a well-deserved break. And suddenly, he hears this absolutely incredible, mesmerizing song. And where's it coming from? A bunch of grasshoppers just doing their thing. But for our donkey, this isn't just some background noise. Oh no, this is the start of a pretty dangerous obsession. And here is the problem, laid out plain and simple. On one hand, you've got the donkey's voice. The story calls it rough and crude. You know, it gets the job done, but it's nothing to write home about. And on the other, the grasshopper song is clear and beautiful. The donkey doesn't just hear the difference, he feels it. He's suddenly hit with this deep sense of, wow, I am just not good enough. And that's the seed of his envy right there. So that feeling of envy quickly bubbles up into a desperate question. And this isn't just him being curious. This is a full-on plea driven by this crushing feeling that he's missing out on something vital. He's so overcome with this feeling that he goes right up to the grasshoppers and asks them one single, very telling question. What do you eat to have such a beautiful voice? You can just hear the hope in his voice, can't you? He's looking for a shortcut, a simple secret, some magic ingredient that will fix what he thinks is his biggest flaw. And the grasshoppers, they give him this answer that sounds so harmless. They say, we eat nothing special. We only live by drinking the clear morning dew. I mean, that sounds so poetic and pure. But for the donkey, this isn't poetry. To him, this is a set of instructions. This is the moment where everything goes off the rails. The donkey heard an answer, but he completely missed the real truth behind it, and that leads him down a path to a fatal misunderstanding. So he has this massive aha moment. He thinks, that's it, the dew. That was the secret all along. He just latches onto this one single piece of information, totally convinced it's the one and only key to getting that voice he wants so badly. He doesn't stop to question it, doesn't consider maybe, that he's a donkey and they're grasshoppers. He just hears dew and accepts it as the whole truth. So based on this totally flawed idea, he comes up with a plan. And it's as simple as it is terrible. He's going to stop eating his normal food, the stuff that keeps him alive, and only drink dew. He 100% believes that this simple swap is all it's going to take to turn his rough bray into a beautiful song. As you can probably guess, a choice this foolish leads directly to a very tragic end. The consequences of his belief are about to get very, very real. And the way he goes downhill is just stark, and it makes perfect sense. First, he completely rejects his food, the very fuel that gives him strength. Step 2, he drinks only morning dew. And, well, what happens when a huge animal tries to live on just a few drops of water? He gets incredibly thin and weak. And the final, inevitable step, he starves to death. A tragic end, but honestly, a predictable one. And here's the final, soul-crushing irony of his entire quest. He never got that beautiful voice. In fact, by the end, he didn't even have the strength left to make any sound at all. In his desperate search to improve his voice, he lost it completely, along with everything else. So what on earth can we learn from this pretty grim tale? Let's break down the moral of the story, because there are some really powerful lessons to pull from the donkey's fatal mistake. The wisdom here is just crystal clear. First up, blindly copying what other people do without understanding the context, it can be an absolute disaster. Sure, dew is enough for a tiny grasshopper, but it's a death sentence for a donkey. Which brings us to the next point. What works for one person might be seriously harmful to another. There's no one-size-fits-all secret to success. Real improvement, the kind that lasts, comes from understanding your own nature, your strengths, your needs, not from chasing some shortcut you saw someone else take. And finally, and this is so important,
Taking one single piece of information and treating it as the whole truth is incredibly dangerous. The donkey heard do, and his brain just shut off.
And that leaves us with one last really important question to think about. Because this isn't just a story about a silly animal, right? It's a mirror. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. What is the do that tempts you? What's that one simple secret, that one shortcut you see someone else has, that you think could just change everything for you, if only you could have it? Definitely something to think about.